Yes, indeed. Welcome into another episode of Total Hockey Now here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. We're going to be off next week, so get your fill in this week. That over there is at Fuzzy Chris 91. I am at Pucking Thoughts, Adam Bernard, at Ant Rivera 86, scheduled to be here, but probably will not due to bad commuting in the New York area. If you live there, you're all too familiar with that, as well as many of the larger metropolitan areas across North America. Luckily, I get to work from home, and that guy usually gets to work from that guy usually gets to work from right there. So not bragging or anything. Nonetheless, here we are.
We did confirm though he is not at the dentist.
I believe it barely, but I believe
it was close. But that was my first thought.
Also, one thing I want to just get into right off the bat: the schedules came out yesterday for all your teams. So I know I see the schedule come out a couple hours later. My rep from the Sharks reaches out like, "Hey, I don't know if you saw the schedule came out." I'm like, I already got like my definite and maybe list. So like, yeah, I did see it. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Probably going to get to about like 8 games this year. I think it's a pretty nice, good number. Hopefully, obviously when the Rangers come to town, that'll be, that's already, I told the wife, make sure you don't work that night.
It must be really nice to live somewhere where you can buy affordable tickets. Because I also saw that they came out. I have no rep because I need both my kidneys to function. I did see though that the Montreal Canadiens have the most back-to-back games this season. Absolutely criminal to start them out the year on a back-to-back. Like I just assume Gary just hates Canada. Well, I don't assume. I know he does. His next target is the Montreal Canadiens now that the Oilers have lost a back-to-back seasons in the Stanley Cup final. But I will cut him some slack because it was like somebody did say, oh, by the way, the Bell Center, right, where the Montreal Canadiens play, they have like the most shows, right? Like they host a ton of shows and stuff like that. So it's scheduling around that. And I'm sure the shows bring in a lot of money. Well, more than I guess what like ticket sales would bring in. So I understand that. But still, I mean, starting the year on a back-to-back, you're just like, hey, man.
That's rough.
Like there was no other day at the start. You didn't maybe think about it. I get there's also the Olympic break. So like a lot of teams are going to do it. But still, there's a lot of back-to-back nights. So that means a lot of backup goalies going to play.
And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Goalie handcuffs, the ones you need to own. Now, listen, just to explain, well, I'll explain that in a minute, just to put a full spin on the schedule release. But the team I formerly had a ticket plan with, the New York Rangers, before I moved to California, usually they get screwed with home games in the month of March because you used to have the Big East tournament, you got the Knicks, all these things that are coming through. I saw somewhere today that 17 of their last 25 games are at home. That is unheard of for the New York Rangers at Madison Square Garden. Also a tremendously busy building with the Knicks, concerts, college hoops, you name it. So I was surprised to see that. So an advantage to them. Now, before we do get into those goalie handcuffs, just a couple of pieces of news here. First, trade before we came on the air, the Maple Leafs acquired Dakota Joshua from the Canucks for a 2028 4th-round pick. So Toronto trying to add some depth to their lineup towards their bottom 6. And it's kind of clear at this point that Vancouver has no intention of trying to make the playoffs this year. Like they have one line, maybe they have like 1.5 lines right now.
I mean, it's full tank mode going on there in Vancouver. They barely have any cap space. So now I guess they're just trying to pencil together whatever that lineup's going to look like. And it's not very good. I don't know. I get why the Leafs are doing it. I just like, does Dakota Joshua play defense? Like, have I overslept? Like that's not the pressing concern. The Leafs are going to go into another year of just mediocrity on the blue line. And then they're not going to understand why they're not a true Stanley Cup contending team, but everybody can see why. Once you take the glasses off, like the pink shaded ones, you'll see what's wrong with this team. And it's not goaltending. It's not Mitch Marner. It's not Austin. It's those plugs on the back end that all look the same.
See, but the thing about that I key in on with this trade is that like a 2028 4th-round pick sounds like it's so far down the line, and you're like, oh, that's only a couple of years away. So that crazy that as the years go by. But yeah, you know, for Vancouver, like you said, going into full tank mode, you stockpile your picks and all that. Toronto's trying to fill out the depth on their roster. I don't mind it either way. Not the biggest news of the world, but that did happen before we came on. And then earlier, Lucas Dostal signs a 5-year, $32.5 million contract, 6.5 AAV with the the Anaheim Ducks. Force of old habit. And what this will be, and we'll talk about goalie handcuffs in a minute. We'll get into the 10 that we think are the most to own. But I don't have Dostal and Mrazek on the top 10 because I think the goal with Lucas here is they're gonna play him as much as he can, and Mrazek's just there for the rest. You know, give him an off night, or if like he's going through a rough stretch, he can handle. I think they're gonna, and you know, that's like a guy like Dustin Wolf in Calgary, same situation where I think they're gonna, even though like yes, the thinking is to bring the young goalies along slowly. I do think there's a little bit of let's give him as much as he can handle and then go from there. So that's a reason why I don't have the Ducks goalies in the top 10 of handcuffs to own.
Do we just not care about Ville Husso? Is that it? Is he done?
Done.
Okay. Listen, Dostal got paid. I think that's fair. I think they're trying to get ahead of this curve, right? Because $6.5 million is not like that's not breaking the bank for a team that has money to spend. They do have guys though coming up that, depending on how they play, are going to need a pay raise. So yes, you could say, oh yes, there's all this money and how they spend it, yada 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 yada. But Cutter Gauthier is going to need some money because he's an RFA next year. Leo Carlson's going to need some money as well. Olin Zellweger is going to need. They have a ton of guys. They still got to give money to Mason McTavish, who is currently unsigned at this point. So the money is gonna. They're gonna have to find some money for these kids. And I'm interested to see how Verbeek goes about this, because now you're getting to the point where you have these young players, and it's one thing, like part of the rebuild process is to get them. The other part is to keep them. Like you got to pay these guys that go around. And let's not kid ourselves. The Anaheim Ducks are not spending to the ceiling. Like they're just trying to scrape through whatever here. This is a budget franchise. So it's going to be real interesting to see how they go about this, what kind of team they put on the ice. There are a lot of guys on entry-level deals. We know the cap is going up, but again, for the Ducks, it doesn't matter because they're not spending to the top. They're probably going to be about a team that's going to be close to $10, $15 million below what the maximum you could spend is. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know if the Ducks are going to be a better team in the near future, but they got all those players there that are going to need money. And if they hit their stride this year, which a lot of players like to do in, contract years, very interested to see how Verbeek goes about that.
I think this is one of those rare times where I think it's like, I don't want to call it a perfect signing, but if you look at the direction Anaheim's been heading with their goaltending, they've been trying to move Gibson forever. Last year, we knew they were going to move on to Dostal, and they get Gibson out, they get him off to Detroit. Then they make the deal here, which, like, to me, $6.5 million for a guy who you're pretty much invested in as he's going to be your starting goalie for at least the next 2 to 3 years, barring anything crazy that happens. He's the guy for better or worse, because Mrazek's not taking the job from him. Husso's not taking the job from him. If things trend in the right direction, now you got a bargain for a really good goalie if Anaheim gets back to the playoffs in the next couple of years. Things don't go according. If Pat Verbeek can't get it going, doesn't figure it out, and Anaheim kind of just is this like subpar, barely mediocre team. But if the cap keeps going up, that's actually a tradable contract for a team that might be looking in a few years to, maybe shake up their crease a little bit if things don't go well. So I think for both sides, it's a good deal, and we'll see how things go with Anaheim.
Yeah, listen, it's a good gamble, right? He's 25 too, so he's, I would say, entering that phase of his career where you're like, okay, maybe you don't need, like, this is where goalies start to take off, right? It is a difficult position to learn. It takes some seasoning. He's put in a tough situation. Like, Anaheim is just miserable as a hockey team, and I don't think they're going to get that much better. Yes, they have a lot of different kind of veteran guys around to help that, but you're still going to suck. most nights. It is what it is. We'll see if they could better on their performance last year. But again, Dostal's been good when he has not been playing for the Ducks, right? Like he's been good in the AHL. He was good when he represented, Czechia and all kinds of international tournaments. So he's a good goalie. Just the team in front of him does him no favors.
Well, I mean, we're also bringing Joel Quenneville in, and everything people want to say about him aside, he's going to make the team better defensively. How much better defensively, I don't know, but they will be just because Quenneville is there. So that'll also help in the crease as well. So nice segue here to the 2025 goalie handcuffs you need to own. Now, I came up with a list of 10, and then a few other people, a few other pairings to discuss after that didn't crack it, and the reason why they didn't crack it as we get that up on the screen there. Now, just to be clear, to me, a handcuff is the starter doesn't play a whole lot. More of a 1A, 1B kind of scenario. Like, yes, if you want to just go purely by, best goalies, then yes, Connor Hellebuck and Eric Comrie is a good handcuff, but Connor Hellebuck's going to start 60 games. So it doesn't make sense to own Eric Comrie, stream him when you need to. Same thing for goalies like Igor Shesterkin, Jake Ottinger in Dallas. I think Nashville, for better or worse, with Saros. I think Calgary is going to go that route with Dustin Wolf this year. I forget who they brought him in to back him up. I don't really think it's much of a threat there. So those guys are not going to be, even though those are some of the better, maybe not so much Wolf, he's on the rise, but like Shesterkin, Hellebuck, you're not going to find them on this list because to me, that's not a handcuff you need to have. So for me, do you want to go 10-1 or 1-10? How do we want to do this?
Let's go 10-1.
Okay, so
save the best for last.
We'll save the best for last. So I think people will figure it out as we go along here. But for me, who I have number 10 on this list, let's reveal. Thatcher Demko, Kevin Lankinen, and the Vancouver Canucks here. Because let's face it, Demko's a very good goalie, but he gets hurt. He's going to miss stretches of time. And if you are going to take that gamble with Demko, as bad as the Canucks are going to be this year, they're going to play him as much as they can. But if you're going to go that route, then you need to have the backup. That's a situation where even though it's a bad team, the goalie is so injury prone that if you're going to make that commitment, then you have to pick up Lankinen with one of your last picks.
I think that's fair. I would have had this a little bit higher. Just because Thatcher Demko's health is just so uncertain. So yes. If you're taking him, at least for me, I need a significant discount on him. Like I need a discount on top of it. He's on a bad team because the Canucks don't look like they're trying. That this team is not going to score very many goals. So most nights that Demko plays, he's going to have to be really, really good. And this is a goalie battling a knee injury, and we don't even nobody knows how bad it is, which is not a good sign, right? Like it's one thing to say, oh, I have a knee injury. This is what it is. This is the plan to treat it, or it's really bad. At least you have something to go off and be like, okay, we can prepare ourselves. I have no idea how his knee is going to hold up. Kevin Lankinen is kind of mid, but in this situation, he's going to play. And
opportunity's there.
The opportunity is there. You just have to be real specific with where you stream him, right? It's got to come against those bottom feeder teams. It's got to come against the San Jose's, the Anaheims, the Chicagos of the world. Maybe against the Flames if they don't really have a ton of scoring and stuff like that. So it's going to come against those teams. If you draft Demko, even if you get him at a discount, you still need Kevin Lankinen. Like you are drafting both of them. You have no choice. You have no choice.
If I thought Vancouver was going to be a better team this year, I absolutely would have had them up on the list. But I think because we just talked about how Vancouver is clearly looking to kick the can down the line to the future. That's why I have it low. Now, if we're going to go 10-1, I feel like I should reveal the other people that didn't make the cut, and we can kind of quickly go through. And I'll go through why I didn't have them. We already talked about the Anaheim pairing there with Detroit. John Gibson's going to get injured at some point. That's just how he is. And again, I don't think Detroit's good enough there. And I think if you're going to be like, well, the combination of Gibson and Talbot might be better than Demko or Lankinen, I'd rather take my chances with Demko and that he actually stays somewhat healthy and plays a lot. Linus Ullmark, Levi Merilainen, they were probably number 11 for me. Because we know Ullmark with Swayman split in Boston a couple of years ago. Last year, Anton Forsberg wasn't really doing it for the Senators. Talk about him a little bit later with the Kings. So I think they're not going to play. Ullmark is not going to be a workhorse. I think that's the wrong way to use him. And I know they have some hope that Marilainen can, flourish a little bit. So I think that's fine there. With the Blues, I think Bennington, they might push a little bit this year. Plus with Joel Hofer, I know they were looking to upgrade the backup there. So to me, there's no point in grabbing that. If St. Louis is looking to move on from Hofer, then, I don't want to grab him. But with Skinner and Pickard, yes, Edmonton's a good team. Yes, Edmonton is probably going to finish second or third, no worse in the Pacific. At some point, I think that goalie situation there is clearly what's cost in the last couple of years. I don't know how you can go into a playoffs again having that as your pairing again. So I anticipate there being I don't know how, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think Edmonton at some point has to make a change in the crease with one of those guys. So until there's more certainty there, I don't even want to touch it.
Listen, I had Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard as high as 6.
Okay.
Because if like say what you want about Stuart. Listen, Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard are not the problem. I continue to beat this horse. Unfortunately, this horse hurts because that defense is miserable. Darnell Nurse is bad. Evan Bouchard does not defend well. They don't have a good defensive group, so they're going to get exposed. And I know that they didn't really upgrade their bottom 6 kind of per se, and that's going to show some nights. But for me here, especially if I don't get Skinner and I'm waiting, if I'm going to play the devil's advocate, if I'm on the other side, I want a piece of Calvin Pickard, just a little piece, because Edmonton has shown that they are willing to turn to him. They will turn to him and go, yes, if we need somebody, we'll go with Calvin Pickard and we will roll him out. And he wasn't bad in the playoffs, but he's not a miracle worker, right? And if Edmonton goes through a stretch where they struggle, maybe Calvin Pickard sees more starts and they become consecutive. And then he's got to build on it. If anything, he's a good trade chip at some point to the guy who has Stuart Skinner. Maybe you can exploit him for a little bit. But to me, there is value in having Calvin Pickard. If you take Stuart Skinner, you have no choice to take Calvin Pickard. Same thing. It's a 2-for-1. And because they play on a team that's going to score a lot of goals, right, they're going to pick up wins. The Edmonton Oilers are going to win games because McDavid and Draisaitl are going to go out there and do whatever they want. Linus Ullmark, I think, is going to end up being a workhorse just because Ottawa's got to figure out how they're going to win. So this team is kind of they've paid their superstars kind of thing. We keep waiting for the next step. Is it going to happen at some point? I don't believe so, but they seem committed to the bit here. So Linus Ullmark has got to go out there and play as many games as possible and win as many as possible. So I think they're just going to roll him to the ground, especially if they are in a playoff hunt. If they are in a hunt for a spot, you got to roll him because you traded for him and you paid him. So there's money there. You know what I mean? You're pot committed to him. Now's not the time to be turning the other way and saying, well, what do we got in the system? No, roll him out there, see what happens. John Gibson, Cam Talbot, I could care less. I have no idea what's going on in Detroit. I assume both will be hurt by the beginning of December. So It really doesn't matter, right? They're both going to get a nagging groin injury and then good luck figuring it out from there.
Now, if you are in a league where goalie wins are highly valued, sometimes you get bonus, a win is worth a lot. And if you're playing in a points league, now Edmonton's value with the crease there changes a little bit, but more traditional leagues, again, I know it's crazy to not have one of the Western Conference finalists the last 2 years to have their goalie not even be part of a top 10 handcuff. And yes, if you're going to get Skinner, you have to get Pickard for the reasons you talked about. I just think there's going to be some sort of change or shakeup or something at some point. So let's get to number.
Hold on. If you want a handcuff for the Detroit Red Wings, right? It's Sebastian Casa. That's the handcuff you got to get. You don't even have to draft him. He is free. You wait. If your league has an NA spot, and I've said this multiple times, every spot of your roster should be filled come opening night of NHL. That includes your IR spots. There are guys who are going to be hurt. If you have IR plus day-to-day guys, slide them in there. It doesn't matter. You deal with that problem the next day, right? You're the same thing for the NA spot. If you got an NA spot for a guy,
take advantage.
Take advantage. It's a free spot. If you're not using it, you know what I mean? And if nothing comes out of it, so be it. But Casa listen, and he's played limited, and I get it. And, he wasn't very good. I mean, he had one start last year, right? He had one start. He had a 911 save percentage, 2.45 goals against average with Grand Rapids. They were an okay team. The playoffs and up and kind of, but he has been good in the AHL, and he is their best prospect in the blue paint. I don't know why Steve Yzerman continues to go get goalies. Jack Campbell is still there for why, I don't know. But there are lots of different ways Detroit can go. If they are serious about contending, the two guys in the blue paint right now are worthless. They back up. That's their job. They back up. And they let Casa run with it a little bit and say, okay, kid, like, what do you got? But he has played one game in the NHL. One. You got I don't know what to do. What are we waiting for? What is Detroit waiting for?
I mean, I hope you're right, because I have his Young Guns card here, so I'm rooting for that as well.
Listen, I'm not going as far as the Devin Levi take, and we know how that one failed. But I'm just saying, he's literally a free square. He's free. Just take him, and then deal with it down the road. If he doesn't start, he doesn't start. That's it.
All right, let's get to number 9 here. Who's it going to be? Jet Greaves and Elvis Merzlikins. And, it may be Merzlikins to be the starter, and then Greaves as the backup, and then they kind of pass each other and swap roles in the season. But let's face it, Columbus was almost in the playoffs last year. They sent out Tarasov, so now it's the guy. Greaves was getting the starts down the stretch. And because Columbus was a borderline playoff team last year, it's not your father's Blue Jackets where it's like, I don't want to touch their crease. Like, now it's not so bad, and Greaves showed some signs of promise. So that's, to me, is a good spot for them at number 9.
I wouldn't have even put them here. I want nothing to do with Elvis Merzlikins. This is Jet Greaves' crease now. Okay,
but
they have made the decision. They have made the commitment. He's 24, Jet Greaves as well. So again, falling into that same conversation as Dostal, he has been here a little bit, right? I think the Columbus Blue Jackets are a good team. They went through some injuries, and that was unfortunate. Defensively, we're going to find out what they are. But Dean Evanson took this team and turned them into decent. Jet Greaves down the stretch, right? He played 11 games last year, okay? 7-2-2, 1.91 goals against average, 938 save percentage. Do whatever you want with that information. But he was good. When he was counted on, he was good. Also, he played, right? He played in the AHL as well. He was really good. 262 goals against average, 920 save percentage, 912 in the playoffs, right? They were good. He's capable of it. And if your commitment is to him, you got to see it through. He's 24. Like, what is Elvis Merzlikins going to give you more of at this point? If he wanted the crease, he would have taken it. He would have been good. He's not. He is not. He is. Are we past?
To me, it's a similar situation to Anaheim, but to me, I think Greaves has a better. Both the Blue Jackets, I should say, have a better team in front of him than the Ducks do right now. It's close, but I think Columbus probably has a better team in front.
Columbus has a better team, yes. So this is why Jet Greaves should. There is no reason for Merzlikins to touch ice unless it's to give Jet Greaves a night off. And Greaves probably going to play about, I would say, 50 to 55 games.
So you think they're going to give him that workhorse treatment like a Dustin Wolf last year?
50 to 55, man. That's what he's got to play. And then, unfortunately, Merzlikins is going to be there. But Merzlikins had 318 goals against 892 save percentage last year. The year before that, I get Columbus has been, they've been terrible for a better period of time. But on the best possible team that they had in recent memory, he was no better. So, what are we doing? I think Jet Greaves is going to get overlooked a little bit. That's great value in drafts. That's what it is. If you think Elvis is going to play a lot, man, I got beachfront property for you in Saskatchewan with your name on it.
All right. So there we go. So I think it's a handcuff. Chris is like all in on Greaves. You can leave Merzlikins out there. Don't worry about it. So who do we got coming in at number 8? Adin Hill, Akira Schmid. Adin Hill played 50 games last year. He's got a good team in front of him, a better team in front of him with Mitch Marner. That's not a guy that they're going to play as a workhorse. He does have his, he's never really played more than 50 games in a season. I don't think they're going to trot him out there that much. Schmid, again, because Vegas is a good team, because I think they're going to give Hill ample opportunities to sit when needed. That's a situation where that's one of the top teams in the NHL. If I'm going to have a guy that I don't want to call injury prone because I don't want to put that label on him, but a guy that they maybe need to be a little more gentle with how much they use him, that's a situation where I want to back up. And to me, Vegas, that's a great spot there.
I think you're taking Akira Schmid because you don't want, like, in case Hill gets hurt.
Right, exactly.
That is purely because, like, Schmid was decent, but like he played
He's the insurance.
He played at the AHL and his numbers were not great. I don't know how good the Silver Knights were, but like it's fine. If you're taking Hill, you want to have that security and you want to take Akira Schmid and the rest of your lineup looks pretty good, like sure, you can probably get away with it. In really deep formats, I'm talking about like 14 plus teams, probably best to do so because you won't find that, like, he won't be hanging around there. You got to kind of handcuff it, at least one of your goalies. If you choose it to be somebody else, fine. But if you're taking Aiden Hill where you are, the benefit for Schmid here is that he's going to be on a good team. Exactly. So he should benefit from it.
And that's another important point too. Like 8-team league, probably don't even need to do a handcuff. 10-team league, maybe. 12-team league for sure. 14-team league, you want to make your minimum starts every week. You need to have one team. You have to corner the market on one team's goalies there. So I'm in a 14-team league where like literally there's maybe 3 or 4 backups out there at any given point, and that's it. So that also makes a difference. So we got through 8. Another comment from WMW Animation. Thank you for tuning in. Binner and Hofer should be top, or Hofer should be top 10. They'll go 60-40, and it's a bubble playoff team. I agree that they're a bubble playoff team. I think they may lean on Binnington a little bit more this year because, again, I've heard in the offseason that they were trying to maybe change out their backup a little bit. So that's more of the reason I don't have him in there because I don't know if Hofer's still going to be there. Let's go to number 7. I like the way I'm revealing these. Logan Thompson, Charlie Lindgren. I do think there'll be some regression with the Capitals. I don't think they're going to be, the top team in the Metro this year, but, and Logan Thompson was very good last year, but this is a team that has the approach of going with like a 60-40% share. And they played Lindgren a fair amount, and they're a good team. So, I mean, this is one where I think, I saw a lot of teams last year where somebody had Logan Thompson, somebody had Charlie Lindgren, but the way they played him last year tells me you should have both this year.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Lindgren got his extension as well. So obviously Washington feels very comfortable in paying him and thinking he can do the job. He won 20 games last year. He played 39, which I think is more than what people were hoping he would play. But I also think that helped keep Logan Thompson as healthy as he could have been.
Right? He played 43, Logan Thompson, so 43-39. So, I mean,
you would probably want more out of Logan, right? And he may play more, but that doesn't mean for Charlie Lindgren, like, you want quality starts with your handcuff. Your handcuff is out there to get to pick up those extra stat categories and wins. He may not play every night, and it may not be a good matchup to play in, right? That's for you to take the decision at that point. You don't have to start your handcuff because you drafted him. But he played 50 games for Washington that year where Darcy Kemper was, a problem. So, and his numbers were good. So he has the opportunity here to be good. I do think there's going to be some regression. I don't think it's going to be like face palm though. Like it all falls apart. Like I think Washington will regress, but they're not going to be miserable. So
exactly.
If you have Logan Thompson, you probably need a Charlie Lindgren, or if you want to grab Charlie Lindgren as a third goalie, and you're preying on the downfall of Logan Thompson, then that's fair too.
And when you say more of Logan Thompson from 43, I don't think they would even want to go north of like 47, 48. Just want to get maybe a handful more games out there. Like you said, Lindgren has been the guy that's, been there when they've needed him the last couple of seasons. So that's an important one there. So we're almost in the top 5. Coming up next here is the Carolina Hurricanes. And this is a situation where, Freddie Anderson played 24 games. Kochetkov played 47. This is more of a sum of its parts situation where, Carolina is going to be a good team. They're going to be one of the top teams in the Metropolitan Division. Some would say they're the second best team in the East after the Panthers. We can talk about that as the summer goes on. I think Kochetkov, if you look at his numbers early in the year, he was playing well, but then they had to use him so much that I think he just got burned out. So I think in a situation where if Anderson could play a little bit more, if Anderson could even break 30, then maybe you get a little bit better of Kochetkov if he's spread out a little bit. I just think he got used too much. I don't think he was as bad. I don't think he's as bad as he was in the second half, but I do think that he needs to be used more sparingly.
Look, this was the first year that Kochetkov kind of, it's like his save percentage was below 900, and he played 47 games. So there is a little bit of concern. I had this as the top handcuff. Like, if you are drafting Freddie Anderson, you got to take Kochetkov. You have no choice. You're committed to it. Death, taxes, and taking Kochetkov if you draft Freddie Anderson. You know he's getting hurt. You know it. And sometimes it's not even his fault. Man had a blood clot. Like, what do you like? You know what I mean? He's a professional athlete. So the problem with Freddie Anderson is when he plays, like, he's good. He's good. He's good when he's there. You're not getting enough from him. I would need, again, significant discount. And if I'm there, I why not play Kochetkov? Right? That's to me. I think there's a little bit of growing here for him. Freddie Anderson's got that 1-year deal left. He's what, 30 old at this point? Like, he's not coming back. So the problem is when he plays, he is good. So Freddie Anderson's going to get every opportunity to go out there and show that he can play, right? Last season his numbers dip, but again, like an .899 save percentage is what it is, but he was hurt, right? And because Carolina's a good team, 13-8-1, respectable. 250 goals against average means that the team in front of him didn't allow a lot of goals. The problem is Freddie Anderson was not the reason they were winning games. That is what it is. He was good in the playoffs, though, but unfortunately, his body's not going to hold up. So
that's why, like, because it's an important one to own, and they're going to get wins and stuff like that. But like Freddie Anderson's, to me, a guy that's going to go later in a draft. So that's kind of why I move him down a little bit, because you could probably wait on him and get those guys in I wouldn't want to say in back-to-back picks, but you probably wait on Freddie Anderson and then get Kochetkov a round or two later than some of the other guys that are going to crack in the top 5 here. Who do we got in the 5th position? That is the Toronto Maple Leafs, Anthony Stolarz and Joseph Woll. Listen, Anthony Stolarz is the clear number 1. Woll is the clear number 2. After what happened with Stolarz last year with getting hurt at a wrong time, not his fault, and seeing what happened with Toronto after that, I think they're going to be cautious with him this year. And Woll's a pretty good backup. He's not the starter, but it was 34 for Stolarz because of injury, 42 for Woll. So I think, listen, if the Leafs are going to be good, you could bash them all you want. They're a playoff team. There's no doubt about that. They're a top 3 team in the Atlantic. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to grab both there.
Probably. I had both of them in one league. I don't remember which one, but I drafted Joseph Woll, and then I think one of my last picks was Anthony Stolarz, and I got extra lucky there. Stolarz is the starter. He's going to need a contract. So this is a contract year for a goalie who is now getting, I would say, a real opportunity at being a starter. You're going to have to pry that role out of his hands. Like, you're going to have to take it. And I think he can make this Toronto defensive group look a lot better than it is. So if you're taking Stolarz again, it's because you're trying to make sure that if he gets hurt, Joseph Woll is there. Woll, I don't know if he's it yet. Like, there's been a lot of hype around him, and I don't think the hype has followed the gameplay. He's been good for stretches, but he's not starter material. I don't see this being as close of a split. And I think if Stolarz starts to get on a run, that's it. It's his. So the quicker he does that, I guess the quicker you can forget about the Joseph Woll shares that you have.
Maybe they're a little cautious with him out of the gate, let him get going. And then, and that's the thing. Just because you draft the handcuff doesn't mean you have to keep the handcuff. If, a situation where, like you just described, where Stolarz emerges and is playing 5 out of every 6 games.
The good news is ton of bottom feeder teams in the East, ton of teams you can take advantage of. So if anything, Joseph Woll is going to get good opportunities to play those games. His numbers may not be great, but his team's probably going to win more often than not.
We are into the top 4 here of goalie handcuffs, and this one might surprise you to see it as a handcuff because we're talking about Sergei Bobrovsky, who is notoriously a workhorse throughout his career. However, he's 36 years old. He's going to be 37 in a couple of months, so he's going to be 37 for the bulk of the season. He's played a lot of hockey the last few years with all the deep runs that the Florida Panthers have had. I think that they will absolutely try and give him breaks where they can. They go out and get Daniil Tarasov from the Blue Jackets. Is he a fantastic goalie? No. But because he's going to be playing behind that Panthers team and behind that Panthers blue line, because I think they're going to give Bobrovsky a little bit less of a workload than he's had last year. Bobrovsky played in 54 games. I think he's going to. I think that number goes just a tad below 50 this year. So I think they give Tarasov. He's definitely going to play on all the back-to-backs. And if they have a stretch where like maybe they're playing a couple of bad teams in a row, maybe they look. All right, Sergey, you're going to get the rest of the week off after Monday, and Daniel's going to play the last two.
I'm not sold on this one just yet. I understand the Panthers wanting to maybe give Bobrovsky's workload a little bit of a breather because, I mean, he's 36. He's entering a contract year as well. So I feel like that may play into it. He's got an opportunity here to have a really good year and bank another good contract.
Like a 2-year,
like a 2-year fig. You know what I mean? Like he could probably hit the market and get paid. And Florida has been very willing to say, hey, if you want to go somewhere else, we'll let you walk, but they're also willing to pay up for certain things. But I do think they brought in Tarasov to play. Like he's 26. He's not hanging out here for fun. He could be the next guy that they try to take a run at. Obviously, they saw something. He's in a really good system. I just don't know how, and again, injuries are up in the air here. You know what I mean? Like you don't know what you're going to get out of it. But I feel like it's too much to kind of have to take Tarasov where it is. If somebody else wants to take him, I would need a significant discount.
Well, I think guys like that, like this is what, depending upon however many round draft, these are guys, the backups are, with the exception of maybe one guy that we'll talk about in a little bit here. Tarasov's to me is like in your last 3 rounds, like you go and get that. Like, you have Bobrovsky fine and you hope somebody that isn't a jerk and snipes you in that regard. But yeah,
I don't think he's being there though in the last 3, to be honest. I think a lot of people will follow your thinking. I do.
There you go. We got somebody checking in asking, are Panthers going to three-peat? I mean, we still got to dive into the season. We're still early here, but there's no reason to not expect that. Like if the Vegas odds are there's every reason to pick the Panthers out of the East next year.
Tell me why they won't. That's a you know what I mean? Telling you why they can is.
There's a lot of good teams. Because, I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the West, but the argument there is like by the time they get through that gauntlet, are they going to be able to beat a Panthers team? Maybe Carolina was their toughest, opponent along the way.
I mean, the Panthers, again, they're just so stacked. It doesn't it's not that the East is easy. They're just that good.
He said, and we got animation saying Panthers won't three-peat because Gary needs Vegas to win. We'll see how Vegas does this year, but yeah, Mitch Marner can't be looking the fool out there. And then also we've got our buddy, we don't have Ant Rivera 86, but we got our brother checking in. Hey boys, did I miss you? Can't wait for the season. Started doing baseball drafts. Congrats again, Adam. I'm whooping my ass in the finals. Hey, listen, sometimes we're still pals, but sometimes just things got to be handled. It's nothing personal, just business. Also, if you're a fan of a player going back home, I know we're a hockey podcast, but Damian Lillard signs a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Portland Trailblazers. So you can go home again. Now let's get to number 3 on the goalie handcuff list. And you can start to figure out based on who's not there and who we've talked about as workhorses already. And let's face it, like San Jose is going to give a pretty even workload to Askarov. They might give Askarov all he can handle and then play Nedeljkovic when he can. But either way, I'm not drafting Nedeljkovic. And you could go through all those bad teams and say the same things about like the backup goalies there. Pittsburgh, Philly, no reason to get those backups. So here we are with Colorado. With a couple of Woods, Mackenzie Blackwood, Scott Wedgwood. Now, because Mackenzie started the season with the Sharks, he ended up playing a total of 56 games. I don't think he'll play that many with the Avalanche this year. I think ask a Devils fan what happens when you play Mackenzie Blackwood too much. So, not that Scott Wedgwood is going to set the world on fire as a backup goaltender, but playing behind one of the best teams in the league, Blackwood is not a guy that they're going to try and work too much. I think that's an opportunity cost guy right there to grab Wedgwood in last 4 rounds, we'll say.
Yeah, Wedgwood was number 2 on my board here because when he came over to Colorado, to the shock to absolutely nobody, he was bad in Nashville, which is fair. He played 19 games, 13-4-1, 1.99 goals against average, 917 save percentage. Now, there's going to be some regression there, okay? Don't sign up thinking he's going to do that again. But he demonstrated that he can give Mackenzie Blackwood the nights off that he needs. And Colorado is a good defensive team. They're good up front. We know playing in altitude is really hard for teams coming into their building. I don't expect Wedgwood to play a lot of home games, but I think Colorado on the road is decent. They can do the work. Wedgwood is a veteran goalie. He knows what he's got to do. Like, your team on the ice is still pretty good. And I think there's some pretty good value there. Some people think that Blackwood's going to play a ton. That's not the case, man. Like you said, and can attest to it. You cannot play Blackwood out there too much. You have to manage the starts. If it like 50 games is probably like the top of the list there for Mackenzie Blackwood. If you can get 50 quality games out of him, you've done your part. So that leaves 32 games for Scott Wedgwood. It's double the workload of what he had last year. Even if those numbers slip, I think he can probably win maybe 15 games as a backup, which is still pretty good. If he wins half his starts as a backup, your 500 goalie wins a win.
Now, and here's the other thing too. When the Sharks went into the season last year with Blackwood and Vanacek as their tandem, that was intended to be like a 50-50 split for that reason. So if the Sharks are going to go into an approach with Mackenzie Blackwood saying like, hey, we're going to play you maybe 40-something times this year, absolutely Colorado should be doing the same thing. So there, and like you said, like WMW Animation says, Mackenzie's save percentage got weaker the year that went on, and Wedge was a stud backup last season. The Wedge is I hate when people call a sandwich a wedge. That's not what it is, but the Wedge is actually a pretty good nickname for a backup goaltender. So there we go. So we got 2 more to go before we get to our mock draft. I'll drop that link in the chat here in a second. And then for us here, coming up at number 2, and listen, I expect there to be a little bit of regression in Darcy Kemper's ridiculous home numbers, home splits last year versus the road, but overall, very strong season for him. He was capped at 50 games. Same thing we talked about with Blackwood, where we saw it in Washington, we saw it in Colorado. You can only play the guy so much. You don't want to overplay him. And yes, maybe Anton Forsberg was not setting the world on fire in Ottawa, but again, that LA Kings team, there's a lot of goalies that you can put behind them, and all of a sudden they look pretty serviceable. I think that's what's going to happen with Forsberg. For this, we said Kemper's not going to play more than 50. So the Kings are still a very good team. I know they disappointed people by losing 4 in a row to the Oilers after taking that 2-0 lead, but we're talking about the regular season here. And last year, the Kings at home were just that damn good. To me, that's good enough to put them second just to head over the Wood in Colorado.
Oh man, I can't get behind this.
I know you're not a Darcy Kemper guy. I'm doubling down on him.
Listen, I had Kemper in some leagues, and that worked out well. But I feel like that mirage is going to get people to believe that Anton Forsberg can be of something. Darcy Kemper is going to get hurt at some point. We've been here. We've done that. We know how this works. So at some point, he's going to go down to injury. The problem is the Kings are going to have a little bit of a regression here because they cannot be that dominant on home ice again. And like Forsberg he's not that good. So what that means is he's going to have to be a player who makes an impact. And the Kings decided they were going to go out and give money to players like Cody Ceci, Brandon Dumoulin, Joel Edmondson is still there. Kyle Burrows is there as well. They Drew Doughty's 100. Listen, I don't think the Kings are going to be as good. That defense group is aging, and it's not very good. So Cody Ceci has convinced a ton of veteran GMs to give him money, and they're slowly getting to the point where this is a group that is aging. They added a lot of aging players, right? Yoel Armia went there. Corey Perry is 40. This is a good team, but the age is going to start to catch up to them. They're not, some of those guys on that team, they're not 22 anymore. And Forsberg's going to have to play on the road. That's where I expect him to play most of his games. And LA was not very good on the road. So I think Forsberg is going to struggle mightily when he does play. So if you're taking Kemper, you probably do need Anton Forsberg. I don't know why you're taking Kemper again, unless you think Lightning is going to strike twice, which I don't think it will. But I mean, that's too rich for my liking.
All right, so maybe I'm a little too hot because last year you remember how big I was on Kemper last year, and it worked out. So maybe it's just a little bit more of that rose-colored glasses for me.
Maybe.
But
You listen, you did win the league, so like, what do I know? You know what I mean? What do I know?
So, all right. So before we do number one here, I want to get the draft link going here. So let me get in here. We'll do a 10-teamer today since we're kind of running long on this one. I'm going to drop the link here in the chat for anybody that wants to participate here. It's going in right now. Make sure you get your spot as it goes in. Return to the draft waiting room. And I love that turn. I'm going to take that turn spot right there. And we'll see if other guys fill in. Now, for the last goalie spot, and you probably have figured it out by now. I mean, you could do process of elimination. For me, it is indeed the New Jersey Devils. If you're going to take Jacob Markstrom, who is not a spring chicken anymore, and last season, Jacob Markstrom played 49 games and Jake Allen played 31, and they just signed Jake Allen to that deal. Yes, Markstrom's the starter there. There's no doubt about that. But he's going to be 36 this season, and he played, like I said, 49 games last year. Pretty good record there, 26, 16, and 6. You didn't sign Jake Allen to that contract if you don't plan on using him, and it keeps Markstrom fresher for the playoffs. Let's face it, the Devils are all too aware of health issues with their own top players and Jack Hughes. So to me, I think that's a no-brainer there, that if you're going to get Markstrom, you have to spend the capital to get Jake Allen in probably one of the middle, I don't want to say middle rounds, but later middle rounds if you take Markstrom.
Yeah, you 100% need Jake Allen if you're going with Jacob Markstrom. One, the Devils are a good team. They were good defensively. This was a good defensive team, and they had a lot of injuries. Now, again, some of those guys are made of glass, so they may get hurt twice. But they lost Nico Hischier twice. Jack Hughes again gets hurt. I mean, Dougie Hamilton. They had some bad luck here a little bit. I expect some of that luck. Maybe they grabbed like a horseshoe somewhere. They got some of that to go away. But Jake Allen proved that he can still play. And if he's on a good team, he knows his role, right? He understands. He took less money to be there. So obviously he wants to be there. And he understands the role that he can play. I feel like New Jersey can get away with a 50-50 split here and be a playoff team. And then you kind of, you know what I mean? Like Jacob Markstrom's a starter. That is what it is. So I don't think Jake Allen will be too upset if you get to the playoffs and then you start rolling Markstrom, right? This has a more 50-50 split. I think maybe Markstrom gets a 55-45 just because he is the guy. But you're going to see a lot of Jake Allen. You could probably hold Jake Allen as a third goalie. If you get into really, really deep formats, he could probably be a serviceable second goalie, right? And that's stretching it. But, 14, 16 team leagues, maybe you have a stud and then you have Jake Allen kind of thing.
Well, I mean, you said in deeper leagues, if we talked about the deeper the league, the more important the handcuff becomes. He played 29 games last year. So if you're talking like almost a true 50-50 split, that's 41-41, let's say. So let's say it's more like 45-37, would probably be a little bit closer to like what that may end up being. That's 37 starts for a team that's more than likely going to the playoffs. Should be better this year. Yeah, I think, yeah, absolutely. That to me, that's why they're the number one, because Jacob Markstrom is absolutely a fantastic fantasy goaltender, but he's going to rest. And Jake Allen drop down is not really that much there. So
it's not even about like what Jake Allen can do, but it's also about like keeping Markstrom healthy. That's that is important for them. They have to keep Jacob Markstrom healthy. They have to. They have no choice. So it's about managing his workload as well. And if Jake Allen can give you quality starts and help you out and win you games and bring you to the playoffs, there's nothing wrong with playing him. You can tell Markstrom, listen, we're trying. This is a collective effort, and this is the plan that we got going. It's about keeping your health, right? Give us the quality, right? If Jacob Markstrom can give us quality starts, if his body feels great, wonderful. But Jake Allen's going to have to do a lot of those, back-to-back games. Maybe he's going to have to take on, some of those tough battles as well, those tough teams that you don't want to have to deal with, going to Edmonton and, in January kind of fade, playing on a back-to-back or something. But he is more than capable. He's more than willing to do his job. So to me, yes.
Would you say he's the best backup in the league? Of all the projected ones, I mean, you see a bunch of them on the right there. I mean, that's the thing. There's some guys we don't have on the screen. UC Saros, I saw a question in there earlier, about how much he's going to play this year. Justice Anunin is not a threat to take his job. Jonathan Quick's not a threat to take Igor Shesterkin's job. Eric Comrie's not, like the list goes on and on. Casey Smith not going to take Jake Ottinger's job. So,
from a fantasy perspective, 100%. Like
yes.
Jake Allen is right there. Even though I had Kochetkov ahead, it's just because I think Kochetkov can end up being the starter, right? Like there's no goalie in that list of backups in handcuffs that I think could become the starter, barring injury. I don't think Jake Allen can outperform Jacob Markstrom. There's no goalie there, the handcuff, that I think can outperform the starting goalie that's there. Those are handcuffs in case of injuries, which is why you handcuff players, or they get hot and they run on that, that mini streak. But Jake Allen is as close to being a good backup goalie that is going to be counted on to play and can deliver.
The one goalie before we get over to the draft here, because we're about 35 seconds away from the draft kicking off here. I would say that maybe Lindgren could push Logan Thompson. That's the only one on the right that I would think could maybe threat. If Logan Thompson goes through a rough period and you know what you're getting with Lindgren, I don't know, but Logan Thompson looked pretty good last year. But there you go. That's going to be our goalie handcuffs here for the 2025 season, the ones you need to own. Let's get to the draft here as we're about a minute away. It takes a second to pull these things up, so give me a second. There we go. All right, we're cooking now. We're good.
Cooking with gas now.
Cooking with gas now. We have three people. Besides the two of us, we have a third person, Keon, in the room. So not sure if that's somebody watching or just a rando in the room, but thank you very much there. Today we're doing a 10-team, as you can see there, head-to-head most categories mock. I remember to shut the sound off, so you can't get it from me that time.
Getting better now.
I am getting
now
better.
It's like second nature.
I know, because I hate that. Like, the ESPN one's annoying. The Yahoo one is not as annoying. Still a couple of weeks away from using Yahoo as our preferred draft platform here as we get ready to go and ready to rock here. The clock counts in. I'll be picking 10th on the turn, Chris 5th, and Keon is picking 8th there. Would have joined but didn't have ESPN account. Listen, we don't prefer to use ESPN. It's just
we don't even blame you. We don't even blame you. We're just here because that's what they offer us.
Yeah, this is what's available right now. Don't worry. We'll get Yahoo in there soon enough, as soon as they allowed it. As soon as they get their box up. And Chris is on the clock here, pick 5. And, again, these ESPN mocks can sometimes be wild. McKinnon, Matthews, Hellebuck, Pasternak, and McDavid still on the you just milk it down at this point, I would assume.
I have no choice. You know where I want it to go, but there's no way I'm letting I can't do that. Can't do it to myself.
Cannot do that.
Can't do it to myself.
All right, so there we go. So now Keon's on the clock. So after McDavid, Matthew Tkachuk, Philip Forsberg, maybe a little high for him there. And there goes Cale Makar. So that's what Chris would have done in that 8 spot. Now I'm on the clock. And I'm on the turn here.
Keon's paying attention, though. Unfortunately.
I'm going to, on the turn here, I got to do Leon Draisaitl at 10. And there's a lot of ways. I've been doing a lot of Draisaitl, Kaprizov. But the fact that Brady Tkachuk is still there, the fact that Kucherov is still there, Brady Tkachuk, I still got to take Brady Tkachuk. Straw that stirs a drink. There we go. That's the end of round 1. As I open up round 2 with Brady Tkachuk. There goes Vasilevsky. Goalies are moving here, so we may have to go a little earlier on goalies that we like. There goes Kucherov to Keon. No-brainer there. William Nylander at round 2, pick 4. Then Artemi Panarin, round 2, pick 5. So Chris back on the clock here. His second round pick. Plenty of quality on the board. I think I know who he's going to take, and it's going to be potentially a guy I just mentioned. And there he is, Kirill Kaprizov. I love Macklin Celebrini. I think round 2, pick 7 is a little too early to get a guy like Celebrini there. And maybe he goes in drafts just because people are going to be hyped for round year 2. I don't know if I'm wasting second round capital on him.
I don't know if Keon's here, but Kirill, he gets Cale Makar and Nikita Kucherov.
There you go. So after
Cooking with
Celebrini,
gas.
Mikko Rantanen goes round 2, pick 8. Philip Gustafson goalies are going. Igor Shesterkin rounds out round 2. Kyle Connor opens round 3. Jack Hughes and Alex Ovechkin. And then we got Cole Caulfield, team 4. Jack Eichel at 5 to Chris. There goes Bobrovsky and Dustin Wolf, who I've seen just in the past week. His ADP is going way up. And listen, he played well. Calgary's an okay team. I don't know if I'm ready to put him amongst like the, I don't know, who's the Shesterkins of the world just yet. Let's see.
His stock has been rising. The problem is like, what are you getting out of Calgary? You know, like what are you getting?
Let's see, I'm on the clock here. All right, you know what? I got to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to take Darcy Kemper. If I have him second as the goal, I got to grab him there. Time for me to get a defenseman on the turn here. Quinn Hughes. I mean, listen, he's still to me this one of the second best defenseman on the board. So got to get my first defenseman there. So gotta with round 4, pick 1. I get Quinn Hughes. There goes Steven Stamkos. Round 4, pick 2. And then Braden Point to Keon, pick 3. Jake Gensel. So you got back-to-back Lightning there. Round 4, pick 4. We got coming up here Mackenzie Weegar, a little maybe early for him at pick 35. As Chris is back on the clock here, taking a look at Chris's roster. He takes Rasmus Dahlin. No surprise he grabs his first defenseman off the board. Maybe a little late for Chris, but when McDavid, it falls in your lap. Kaprizov's there, and Jack Eichel to me, anywhere in the first 3 rounds is a good spot to get him.
Can't believe this worked out. I guess it's because it's a 10-team league. It kind of worked out a little bit, and I'm happy. I know I'm not going to get them all, but
it's not Pokemon.
Yeah, I was hoping to catch them all, but I'm going to take which one do I want here? I guess, listen, because I got McDavid here, and because I know how terrible Edmonton is defensively, I'll take Evan Bouchard.
So you're going to go with the little McDavid Bouchard stack there. Round 5, pick 5. John Tavares off the board. Tage Thompson, good pick. There goes Zach Werenski. So I was hoping either Werenski or Bouchard would make it to me. Not the case. There goes Marty Natchez. That's another strong pick there.
That was my other choice. That was my debate, was whether I take Zach Werenski there or not. I knew he wasn't coming around the other way, but
I could go one of 2 ways here, and I'm going to go the reliable way. Victor Hedman. I mean, I'm not going to say the other defenseman yet, but and you probably know who it is. But I mean, maybe I go another defenseman here because I'm not in love with a lot of the forwards that are available at this point. And yeah, I could take Scheifele. In an ESPN format where you're dressing 5 defensemen, screw it. I'm going to go what I want to do here. Both defensemen I was considering, Victor Hedman, Adam Fox off the board. So I got a nice trio there. Now I can maybe go back and get another goalie, get another forward. There goes Matt Boldy to Keon. That's a good pick there. Nazem Kadri a little early by the computer. Clayton Keller in the 6th round. I don't know how many times he's going to be around in the 6th round. So that's a guy that's probably going early.
That's the guy I wanted.
Again, this is a forward defenseman format. So, it's the strategy doesn't come as to play as much as it would in a center, left wing, right wing kind of deal.
I guess I'll take a goalie.
So there he gets Anthony Stolarz, round 6, pick 6. Wyatt Johnson, Alex DeBrincat, Dylan Gunther, and Matt Coronado, another guy whose stock is on the rise. He rounds out round 6. Adam Fantilli opens up round 7. Jesper Bratt, Mark Scheifele, Vinny Trocheck, potential captain candidate there for the Rangers. At pick 64 with Chris on the clock at pick 65.
I don't know how he's still hanging out here. I don't know why he's all the way here. I'll take him then. I'll take Alexander Barkov.
Sasha Barkov, that's a solid pick there. Horvat and Hagel goes. Now Keon back on the clock. I know who I want if it gets back to me here. We'll see if Keon or Team 9 takes him.
Keon's got the team I want. Homie, are you watching?
He just sniped me on Bedard. There he is sitting there. Keon, are you watching?
Keon's team looks he's been paying attention. Please.
Watching.
If you are here, please submit.
Yeah, let us drop a line on Twitter, something in the chat. I'm going to wait on the.
He's got a lot of the big upside guys there that I wanted. First of all, his blue line of Cale Makar, Zach Werenski, absolute dominance.
So I take Heisha to round out round 7 because he's just as consistent as they come. Let's see here. Do I go forward again? Am I looking goaltender? You know, I'm gonna grab a goaltender here because I don't want to wait any longer. We're gonna take Mackenzie Blackwood.
Solid.
I think getting those San Jose Sharks numbers out of his stats and replacing them with Avalanche starts should only help.
Josh Morrissey, good.
So there goes Dylan. So after my pick opening up round 8 with Mackenzie Blackwood, Moritz Seider goes second, then Josh Morrissey, the Keon. Dylan Holloway had a nice season last year, and Pavel Dorofiev with the Vegas Golden Knights, power play specialist there, going with the 75th pick. Chris on the clock with pick 76 here. Take a look. Chris's team.
Big fan of Nick Suzuki. He is this. Listen, I don't know if 90's out of his reach, but I mean, I think with the Habs roster this year, he can at least try to flirt with the idea.
I think Suzuki on that top line in Montreal. Plus, he's your guy. I don't always advocate for taking like guys you root for, but that's a situation where just the round and everything just made too much sense. You had to do it. And
listen, I'm a big fan Joel Eriksson Ek. Someone's got to center that top line, and they have no second centerman. Let's disrespect a little bit to Marco Rossi, but still, whether he stays there or not, we don't know yet. So
there you got Eriksson Ek round 9, pick 5, a little bit early for Joey Daccord, even though he's going to get a lot of the workload there in Seattle. But I just, it's Seattle. Fiala going round 9, pick 7. Travis Konechny round 9, pick. Keon he's good. John Carlson pick 9. Because I went defense heavy early and got my goaltending situated early, I'm going to have to grab another forward here. Rupe Hintz, I think, sleeping there a little bit, ranked 100th overall ESPN. He's going to be centering Mikko Rantanen. Somebody's got to feed him the puck.
That's fair.
And I'm back on the clock again here. You got to scroll down a little bit here, see if there's anybody that's not really ranked that well. You know what? I'm going to jump on him. It's a little early. Give me Nikolai Ehlers. Round 10, pick 1. Should get more opportunities in Carolina as they're going to lean on him more. They'll probably play him more than Winnipeg did. So I'll gladly grab him at pick 98 there. 91, excuse me. Lucas Raymond goes after him. I'm not a big Lucas Raymond guy. Maybe I should be on the wagon. Maybe somebody can convince me that I should be more of him, but he's a guy that I'm not really taking when he's available. There goes Jake Sanderson, the Keon, Logan Thompson, and then Logan Cooley. A couple of Logans back to back. I would imagine Chris was maybe considering one of those Logans.
I guess I will get none, but I will take a really nice consolation prize here. I think too many people sleeping on him, man. Too many people. Thomas Harley is it. He's the guy. I know a lot of people are going to look at Miro Heiskanen. Thomas Harley's the guy you want to have in the pocket.
He's the guy that runs the power play. I mean, I know Heiskanen's the best. Heiskanen is the best defenseman in Dallas overall, but Harley's the guy for fantasy purposes.
I can't let him go around again. He's been sitting here waiting. I mean, are we just going to disrespect 60-plus points like that? Like it doesn't even matter? And with a true power play now that's cooking, give me Lane Hudson here.
I like that pick. Round 11, pick 5. There goes JJ Peterka. That's a guy I was hoping maybe made it a couple more picks back to me. Jackson Lacombe, I understand why his stock should be going up this year. I think it's going up way too much, but I could be wrong. I was a guy that got him on waivers last year, was happy to have him for pretty much the last half of the season. I think his stock's going up a little too much. There goes Brandon Montour. I think I'm going to go back to the defensive well here. You know what? First pick, I want to get, let's get Tomas Hertl here. I want to share that Vegas top 6. Marner did go, right? I didn't miss that.
He did, yeah.
Okay.
Because thinking about it. Yeah, he did. He's part of Keon's team.
Of course it is. Why I should have just known. All right, so let me ask you something about Noah Dobson. Like, is he like? Listen, I know it's about Lane Hudson, but there's got to be some value there with Dobson too, right?
Dobson's going to play a healthy amount of minutes. Listen, I know a lot of people are sitting here talking about Noah Dobson and stuff like that, and the power play. Does anybody forget that the New York Islanders had no power play and he still racked up points? So this notion that he's not going to get those top power play, who cares? He did all that damage, even if he had a down year. The year before that, by the way, again, the Islanders haven't had a decent power play in a minute. So where's the problem? What's happening? Speaking of goalies, I need one. Big shout out to ESPN for just not caring, because Jekri is so far down. I had to search the name, so I'm big on that.
Now, there's a goalie that just went, UC Saros, round 12, pick 3. Saw a question in the chat earlier. Does Saros bounce back this year? Used to be elite, now he's crumbling.
Oh, no, man.
Well, I think that's kind of like a chicken egg scenario. Was Saros' problems last year because the Predators in front of him just could not play a couple of good hockey games back consecutively, or is he starting to crumble? I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt and just saying, listen, everything went wrong with the Predators last year. It's a mulligan for Saros, and then maybe this year be better for him. So Keon back on the clock here. Chris, with his last pick, grabs Matthew Nyes, round 13, pick 5. Don't think he's going to be there in the 13th round of many drafts. So it's a shrewd pick by you. Keon grabs Jacob Markstrom, round 13.
Guys, because I hovered my finger over him, so that makes sense.
Yeah. I do like your Nyes pick, though.
Listen, there's a spot for him on that top unit. He seems to be strapped to Austin Matthews' wing, so why not?
Now, I take Andre Kopitar, Mr. Consistency. You know he's going to play key minutes for the Kings on a good team. I'm torn about going forward or defense here. I don't have, I have Draisaitl. You know what? I think maybe karma rewards Brock Besser for taking the deal in Vancouver, staying home, staying where he wants to like. If he could stay healthy, I like, in a league where goal scoring is going to matter, in a league where goals matter, I'll take a Besser there. Round 14.
Listen, he was good to the Canucks. The only person who lost out there was Besser because he didn't get an extra year and he didn't get traded and nothing.
Keon taking Robert Thomas. Is Anthony really just in the draft as Keon and like all the guys that we know he knows we like? Because Thomas is a guy I would have liked to grab on the way back.
I guess we're gonna do this again this year. We'll see how this works out, but we'll go down the Lafreniere path again.
I guess he's a guy that, because with my love of the Rangers, I guess I should be on him a little bit more in terms of giving him a chance. It's just tough after watching last game. There goes Freddie Anderson, round 15, pick 3. Miro Heiskanen. That's a little late for Heiskanen, I think. Like, I know Harley's the guy. Heiskanen's still a pretty good defenseman there. So that's some good value. Round 15, pick 4, pick 144. Now Chris on the clock, pick 145. See what he's going to do here.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to go a different route here. Again, if everything works out well, just stay out of trouble, please, Valerie.
He's your like mid to late round, like take a stab on him guy. And it makes sense.
The upside for 65 plus points is there. He's got a full-time home on the power play now with Mikko Rantanen out of town. Even when Marty Nature's there, it doesn't matter. Like he's, there's stuff that needs to happen.
Here I go with a decision here. All right, so I'm going to grab my fifth defenseman here. And I know, listen, I could take Morgan Riley. That's fine. I love just having Devin Taves as it's like a way of kind of having Makar, but not really having Makar. You get to have a lot of the, coattail benefits of being on a pairing with him. So I'll take him as my fifth defenseman there, around 15, pick 10. Back on the clock here. I'm looking. People think Marco Rossi's going to break out this year. He's got no choice but to be the second line center in Minnesota. Why not? I'll take him at the open up the 16th round. How do we feel about Marco Kasper? He's a guy that I'm not sure if I want to take a chance on him, but there are plenty that are.
I truly cannot trust the Yzer plan. I don't know what's happening there. I don't know what we're doing. I need a defenseman. I waited one round and it didn't really solve my problem. But I'm assuming he's on the top unit as of like this moment. So I'm going to take Shea Theodore here.
Yeah, Theodore Hannafin.
I was hoping somebody would take Hannafin. I'm not going down this Morgan Riley path. Not again. We're not doing this twice.
And there goes. All right, so Thatcher Demko, Stuart Skinner going back to back, round 16, picks 9 and 10. It just goes to show where that draft stock is.
Yeah, I need to take goalie as well. I do not care about the handcuff. It's just something that doesn't really worry me per se. So I'm going to make somebody else's handcuff a lot worse here. I'm going to take Charlie Lindgren.
So there you go. So if you have Logan Thompson, you ain't getting the handcuff there. Sam Bennett going in the 17th round, Conn Smythe winner. Obviously, Conn Smythe doesn't always equate to fantasy value, but is that a little late for him, or is like, do you think people are going to overdraft him because of what he did in the playoffs? And he's really, he's a very good player and is somebody that should be on a fantasy roster, but maybe 17th round is a good spot for him. Maybe a little higher than that.
I mean, he's gonna. The problem is he's like, what is he in reality? He's a very good real life player. I just don't think the fantasy upside is just there, unless you're talking about face-offs and penalty minutes and all that other stuff that come with it.
All right, I'm gonna take my goal. I'm gonna time out. Damn it, I got Barrett Hayton. Okay,
Nice.
I timed out on both of mine. I don't like that. Shouldn't make both picks. That room, there was no way I was taking either of those guys there.
You weren't taking Trevor Zegras?
No.
Oh, okay. I guess it's time, right? It's a 10-team leaguer. We're at pick 18 of 22. I think I drafted him earlier last mock that we did. He's gonna win. I was looking at rookie of the year odds. It's not worth a ton of money there. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, that means they expect a lot out of him.
They do. And so do I. So
I'm annoyed about that back-to-back. They shouldn't have put me on auto pick for the second one. They should have given me a chance to make the pick. There goes Will Smith, a guy who I was probably going to draft, and I probably should have drafted.
He wasn't going to make it to you, so that's where I was going with it.
Oh, I should have taken him with one of those auto picks, is what I'm saying. I was thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that didn't work out for you, did it? Man, I don't like where this is going. I lost his name now in my
Braden Shen.
Nope. Well, I got bit by the auto. Well, we'll go with it.
Both got bit by the auto. There goes Eklund, the guy I was considering. All right. So I was looking at a goaltender there. Let's see here. So I'm on the clock again. We didn't talk about this guy because he played a lot of games last year for Utah. And if they're going to take a rise in the standings, Vamelka is probably going to be counted on here. So as a third goalie, I know we spent 45, 50 minutes on goalie handcuffs. In this format we're doing right now, the handcuff is not as important because, it's a 10-team league. So for my third goalie, I'll definitely do that. And then forwards here, I have to make up for the fact that I got auto picked on two of them. Listen, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins still being out there at this point. Why not? Right? This late in the draft.
That's a fair pick. He's going to get the upside. If that's what you're looking for.
He's going to get the opportunity. He's going to be on the special teams, all that good stuff. There goes Michelli. So Chris, doesn't love the Leafs, but buying into maybe getting some coattail riding points there on that top line as things move along here. As we're wrapping things up the last couple of rounds here. Keandre Miller, round 20, pick 8. Anthony Cirelli all the way in the 20th round. He's probably going earlier. Kent Johnson, that's a good sleeper pick there by Team 1. Guy that had center, left wing, and right wing eligibility last year.
Can you scroll up on your screen a bit on your players that you've taken?
Yeah.
All the way up? No, okay. Because my auto pick was automatically turned on. That's why. So I was just making sure it didn't happen to you. I'm taking Quinn Byfield here. I mean, apparently he died. So
yeah, it's a guy maybe I would have taken it if I didn't get auto picked. That one. But so Keon back on the clock here. We're gonna take it once we wrap up with this draft. We're gonna take a look at our respective teams and Keon's team. He takes Jenner there. There goes Ryan Donato. I'm back on the clock here. Let's see here. So I got to grab a bench defenseman. This is where you could take chances, take stabs. I'm looking at a Luke Hughes. Could do that. At some point, you could grab back home and be a part of it. But at some point, the Kings are going to let Brent Clark run. And I think maybe that's this year. So I'll take him as a bench defenseman. And then for my last forward, I'm looking at Logan Stankoven. I'm looking at. That's the guy. Screw it. That's my last pick there. I don't love that I have two of the Hurricanes and a weak offense, but my hand was kind of forced there with again the auto pick screwing me with two guys that I would never have taken in a million years.
No disrespect to Trevor Zegras. It's just Adam doesn't believe in you.
I mean, listen, maybe that would work out in my favor in real life. Maybe the change of scenery is exactly what he needs, and he's in a better place now in Philly. But I don't know. Speaking of his former team, there goes Leo Carlson, Jared Spurgeon, Matthias Ekholm, Thomas Shabbat, and Yuri Slafkovsky to wrap it up there. So let's take a look here at our teams quick before Yahoo kicks us out. Let's talk about Keon's team: Kucherov, Marner, Point, Boldy, Bedard, Konechny, Meyer. It's a bounce back candidate. Dylan Strome, Robert Thomas, Cale Makar, Zach Werenski, Josh Morrissey, Josh Sanderson, Drew Doughty, Svechnikov, Markstrom, Olmark, Barzal, Buchnevich, Wall, Jenner, Sanheim. I like that team.
Really, really. That was a really strong start. So either you've been here before or you're paying attention, because that Cale Makar and the Boldy snipe, I just want you to know I'm not going to tolerate that again. But I'm glad you're paying attention if you do. Here's what I'll say about it. 10-team league. I don't think you need 4 goalies. You're gonna have the pickings. Even if, let's say, everybody carried 3 goalies, that's 30 NHL goalies, right, that are taken. And there's a ton of handcuffs. There's a ton of injuries. You'll find somebody. So because now all you're doing is you're hindering yourself, because that's a roster spot that you could be holding. And again, pick a third one and then just roll with it, right? 3 goalies, if you want to run in a 10-team league, go ahead and do so. 4, you're just kind of you're stretching a little bit for no reason. But that is a really good team. That is a strong build. You got a lot of good players there. Good for you. I'm glad you got Cale Makar.
And he got Cale Makar, which, will he go top 5 this year? I don't know, but you could start thinking about him once 5th overall rolls around. You get Connor McDavid at 5th overall, and this would Kirill Kaprizov, Jack Eichel, Sasha Barkov, Nick Suzuki, Joel Eriksson Ek, Matthew Nyes, Alex Lafreniere, Valerie Nichushkin, Rasmus Dahlin, Evan Bouchard, Thomas Harley, Lane Hudson, Shea Theodore. That's a group of defensemen there. Ivan Demidov, Braden Shen, Matthias Michelli, Quentin Byfield, Leo Carlson round out your forward group. And then Anthony Stolarz, Jet Greaves, and Charlie Lindgren there for your goaltenders.
The goalies, I feel, again, Jet Greaves will go up. He'll shoot up the rankings. So getting him where he did, I couldn't pass on McDavid at 5, because then I'd have to get reevaluated, right? So this is a good lesson in life. Doesn't matter what your draft plan is, right? You zig when people zag. If you're letting Connor McDavid fall, I mean, I can't help you.
That's your choice.
I can't help you. I can't help you with that. If that's the choice you're making, maybe that changes when some real people start showing up, right? Because no way you're taking Connor Hellebuck 3rd overall. As a guy who loves goalies, fine. In a 10-team league, you don't have to be there. There's not he's not significantly better than the next guy that you can get. I think there's a cluster of goalies that you can take. So just paying a premium for him at that point is not. Jack Eichel is going to play a lot. Barkov and Suzuki are kind of guys who just play a ton, right? They kill penalties, 5-on-5. Maybe Barkov's production, maybe I'd like him to be a point a game player at least, kind of to get the value back there. Joel Eriksson Ek, I think this could be a big year where he explodes, right? Just because Minnesota doesn't have really a 2C, so he's just going to be out there. Again, another guy who's probably going to count on to kill penalties. Matthew Nyes is the opportunity kind of thing. Alexis Lafreniere, maybe we see more power play time from him. That'd be kind of fun. Same thing with Valerie Nichushkin. Dahlin and Bouchard, guys who just love to rack up points, man. Bam, bam, bam. Thomas Harley is the guy you want in Dallas. He's the quarterback of the top unit. Merrill Heiskanen is probably a better all-around defenseman, but I think Thomas Harley is a fantasy defenseman. Lane Hudson, you already know. Shea Theodore, we're talking about upside, right? And then Ivan Demidov, because, why not? Why not? And then Michelli is just kind of banking on stuff. Quentin Byfield, the same thing as well. You're banking on the upside there. Leo Carlson, the same thing. I'm banking on all those kids going out there playing. I'm just hoping that Joel Quenneville doesn't limit them too much. Brayshea was the auto pick. I have no explanation for him.
It's not a bad auto pick. It's better than my auto picks. I wouldn't have been, at least Braden Shen get you some stuff, and he's going to get minutes for the Blues. Let's take a look at my team before we say farewell on this edition of Total Hockey Now. Thank you for following along, commenting, and watching our goalie handcuffs, which you could catch earlier. This is our second mock draft of the summer. We'll be back in 2 weeks with mock draft number 3. Looking at my team here, Looking at the draft, Leon Draisaitl sitting there at pick 10. I mean, what am I going to do? I have to do that. Brady Tkachuk, it's fine. It's sometimes I'll take Kaprizov there. Maybe in a 12 teamer. Maybe I wait a couple more picks and I could get him, but I'll definitely start with the Draisaitl Tkachuk cornerstone. Moving on into round 3. Goalies were going, so I was kind of forced to grab Kemper early. I know Chris doesn't love that pick, but hey, I'm going to double down on Darcy this year. Quinn Hughes, listen, as an anchor defenseman, you can't go wrong with that as your number 1. Moving along here as we get to the later rounds. And yes, 3 defensemen in a row. But in this format where you're playing 5 defensemen and you're probably only going to have spot on your bench for 1, you got to have a really good top 3. I do that there with Hedman and Fox. Along here, and we go through. Nico Hischier, he's a guy I'm trying to get in as many drafts as possible because he's just a model consistency for the Devils. And yes, it's Jack Hughes' team, but Hischier's the other guy there. He's the Robin in that situation. I get my other goalie, Mackenzie Blackwood, there. Yes, we talked about him being an important goalie handcuff, but again, in form, like you said before, 3 goalies is really all you need there in this format with this amount of roster positions. Going to the end of round 9, I double up with Rupe Hintz and Nikolai Ehlers, filling out my forward group there. And then I wanted, like I said, I wanted that share of Tomas Hertl. Vegas, Kopitar, another, consistency pick. Noah Dobson there as a 4th defenseman on a team that's going to be way better than the Islanders last year. Certainly like that. Then we get to round 13. Like I said, I took Kopitar, and then I get Besser, who I think will put the puck in the net. Get some goal scoring there. And then Devin Taves and Marco Rossi. Think, again, happy with my team up to this point. I'm moving along. Guys in the top 6, guys playing special teams, top pairings. And then I get the Barrett Hayton, Trevor Zegras auto picks there. Who I probably would have taken instead, Will Smith for sure would have been one of them. He goes a little bit later. Maybe I grab Noah Hannafin as a defenseman there. Maybe I take Morgan Riley. I don't know, but I just was not a fan of those picks. Vemelka is my 3rd goalie if we expect Utah to be on the rise this year, which I think we do, whether they're a playoff team or not, but they should be better. And he got the lion's share of the starts last year with Connor Ingram as the backup. So, I don't think Vitek Vanacek is a threat to really eat into his workload. Nugent Hopkins is a later round pick, sure. And then Brent Clark and Logan Stankoven to round out my team. So I like my team. I don't love my team.
I think it's good. I think big ears from Barrett Hayden and Trevor Zegras this year. That's what I understood from that. They're going to watch this and they're going to take it personally.
I mean, maybe at the end of the draft, maybe I take those guys, but not so much where I got them in the what was it, the 15th and 16th rounds, or 16th and 17th, whatever it was. There we go. Mock draft number 2 in the books. How do we feel so far?
Very, very good team. I got sniped by a couple of things, but that means that some of you are paying attention, which is good. Which means if we run into each other in a draft lobby, that's unfortunate. I don't want to. I want you guys to learn and be better, just not around me. You know what I mean? I don't want my competition to be better. We all have that buddy that's in that league, and then you look at his team and you're like, can I get an invite to this league? You know what I mean? Because I want to be able to take advantage of it. So yeah, that's what it is. But a lot of you are building some good teams, though, which is good.
We are here to help. That is
practice now. Even if you don't have a ESPN account.
Yes. Fantrax, I think, is another one that might be able, but you have to actually do the league. I don't think they do mocks, so we'll have to do the league. We'll do a best ball one here coming up.
I think they do leagues on Fantrax, don't they?
Oh, what I'm saying is you can't just do a mock on it like Yahoo.
Maybe they don't have it out yet.
I think in order to do the mock, you have to be in the league. I don't know. We'll have to look into that more. Maybe for next week. Maybe for 2 weeks from now, we'll do Fantrax. Now, and then we also could do an underdog one. We could do a best ball there. We'll do that. We've got what, 1, 2, at least 5 to 7 more mock drafts coming, if not more than that, here over the next 6 weeks over on Total Hockey Now and beyond, as we the NHL season starts up Wednesday, October 9th, or Thursday, whatever that Wednesday or Thursday is. But Slapshot podcast in the off season, you could always go back and watch some Puck Doku, correct?
You can do that. You can go back and just hang around for a minute. You can also ignore me for the next 6 weeks if you want. You can find me here. Whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you happy. But you should probably go hit the like, hit the sub, just do that while you're there. And then come back here.
Then come back here, because we'll be with you, except for next week. We'll be out here all summer. I'm going to be on a family trip. Anthony's podcast, if you're into the Mets or the NL East in Major League Baseball, at Subway to Shea. Rip and Riff going to be on hiatus for the next few weeks. Jared and I will come back strong in mid-August once football season really starts to ramp up, taking a few weeks to breathe and maybe recalibrate a few things. Of course, you can reach out to totalhockeynow@gmail.com if you want to stay in touch with us throughout the off season here. But hey, it's going to be a 2-week break. It's going to come back even stronger. The ADPs will be better, so it'll make the drafts better, and that's what we're here to do too when we do these boxes. We're trying to get the ADPs correct, and not have the Alexander Georgievs of the world top 10 of goalies, as was the case a few weeks ago. But for at Fuzzy Chris 91, I am at fucking Thoughts Adam Bernard. We'll be back with you 2 weeks. We'll be back with you to close out July 31st on Total Hockey Now. Here on the Total Hockey Now YouTube channel. Thank you as always for tuning in. Like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. See you next time. Total Hockey Now.